This is Three of Spades, and welcome to Alpha Response. This is the successor to Tactical Intervention, and Tactical Intervention was the successor to Counter-Strike. Basically, in my search to find the rare and very at times hard to find cops and robber game, I found this as well as Tactical Intervention. It's an Unreal Engine 5 game, so unfortunately that means I had to make some little adjustments to this guy's lighting and engine.ini config, so that way I could at least get a semi-tolerable, frame rate. It's going to say it's 100 or so here, but that's going to change. And very fast. So, he says on the store page, Gooseman, same guy who made Counter-Strike and Tactical Intervention, he says that it's like, Virtua Cop. That's a fucking lie. 100%. It's more like Windows 10. It's more like the early 2000s, like his last game, which, dude, just own it. It's a good time, and it should really get more games. And, the first mission I played, basically this game is like open world-ish Payday, but you play as the police, which is a pretty cool concept. What sucks is they removed the PvP suite, which really would have been nice to have, but off the jump, the AI works. So that's a lot better than Tactical Intervention, at least. Though, unfortunately, totally lost the excellent presentation anyway. Like the first game that he made had Tactical Intervention on Source Engine. So he wants you to fucking swim and then you get back up. Yeah, this is an early access game, so hey, I'm sure it'll get better with time, but I really don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. Your first impressions matter a lot to me, and I mean, even though, like, say, I'm going to be doing an early access game, the difference is my early access is fucking free, and this one costs $20, so, yeah. Starting to see that frame rate going down, huh? I wasn't kidding. And unfortunately, the second you get one of these guns, your frame rate goes bye-bye. Yep, we're starting to get stutters. I wasn't kidding. It seems good at first, but the more you play the game, the more destabilized it becomes, so don't expect me to chain missions together. It never fucking works. So, he added a lot of enemy types, that's nice. This fucking barely functional turd of a game, it took me about 5 hours to get it to this state, and that is trying to figure out what brand of marijuana he was fucking smoking at the office today. When you fucking aim in the sight, guess what? Lags the shit out of the game. I'm now to like 40, 50 to 40 frames a second. What is really so demanding with this fucking scene? This looks like the shit that fucking came out in like 2013, like Watch Dogs 1 on the fucking Xbox One. This really look like it's pushing the technical bar forward? No. And I mean, before I screwed with a lot of the frame stuff and, the visuals to get a higher frame rate above, I shit you not, like 10 to 20, on average especially, it just didn't fucking work well. And these are just pre-scripted animations. Um, it was not a well-performing or really good game, and I fucking rage quit and had to recut and re-record this about like 3 times just because the frame rate was that fucking bad. There was a much, much worse, very angry rant version of this video, and I deleted that. It's not polite, so I decided against it. But I will demonstrate what my biggest issue ultimately was, um, and you'll see. Because, games like these, right? The bro shooters, the games where you play as an army dude or police officer, especially the police games, are so fucking hard to find with better graphics on an engine that's not like something from the fucking PlayStation 3 or some kind of exclusive game or some sort of free to play game that no longer exists. That's usually where I would find it. If not, it would often be like some form of like Android game that sucks and is really only meant for little kids, or Minecraft, which there is a Minecraft styled cops and robbers like game that's like an alternative to Pixel Gun, but that's not what I mean. What I meant was something like this, maybe not so much like, fucking Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 instead of doing its own style. Like, basically, they did the same exact horseshit mistakes as Payday 3. Also, these grenades can and will fucking kill you. But I shit you not, like, the more you throw grenades at shit, the worse the frame rate becomes because they do not know how to just, like, hold the fucking decals. So you could probably tank your frame rate. You're already starting to see it. It's getting down to, like, 41, 39, like what in the fuck? And yeah, literally, you don't even need to complete this fucking lesson. You could just twiddle your thumbs, sit here and go on your phone, and if the game just detects you're taking too much time, you don't even need to fucking get all the barrels. You can just straight up like go to the next thing. Then watch this.
Upgrade bags to resupply or enhance your performance. These bags need to be placed on the floor and can be shared with teammates.
I can actually do none of this, surprisingly enough. If the game, it doesn't fucking work, and clearly you've programmed this on some sort of timer, likely as a means to unjam the players should they get stuck or something, you failed to design a correct, correct anyway, a fucking good level in that case, right? There's no correct way to fucking do levels, I guess, if you feel like. But you see what I mean? Look, I didn't even need to get the bag to progress. How do you learn then? How are you supposed to learn? You've literally just
Medical items can
that
be
just
carried
I
with
don't
you
even need to do
to
this shit,
replenish
right?
your health during a mission. Pick up the health syringe and practice
Like look at
refilling
that.
yourself.
That's the first thing that happened because I was trying to fucking configure my settings to not run the game at like, 2 frames a second, especially when I, would throw a grenade and the grenade would fuck up the frame rate like that? Why does that take up like 10 frames a second? What's so demanding about a shit stain on a wall? I can't tell you. Now I'm getting like 50, 60 frames a second. Why? What is so demanding about that decal? I mean, it's also the reason why I don't do decals like this in Rogue Planet 2, because the sacrifice of that means you get like 130 FPS on most maps at the minimum, which I think that is a worthwhile trade-off because, dude, wouldn't you fucking want like 100 FPS? Who the fuck doesn't want that on a shitty laptop? Why settle for, Xbox 360 and PlayStation, 4 standards of graphics when you could do even better, right? If you're going to have those graphics, like, can I at least have a crazy over the top frame rate? And most people don't even fuck with that.
At the end of a mission, you'll have the
I didn't even have to
opportunity to
do the lesson.
resupply
I can
from
just
the
fucking,
field.
like, walk willy-nilly
Raiders will
wherever the
come
hell I
with these
want.
supply crates.
Yeah, I could just, like, fucking stand here. You don't even need to do this. Like, you're telling me this is the tutorial of the game. And in this tutorial, I don't need to do shit. Literally, I could just fucking sit here and, I can fucking just start watching my phone. I mean, you can't see it naturally. But I can just fucking sit here, twiddle my fucking thumbs around, fucking do jack shit. You know what'll happen? I know what's gonna happen. I can continue with the tutorial like nothing fucking ever happened. Like, oh yeah, you totally went through with that, right? Yeah, you did? No, you didn't? Okay, we'll keep going. Like, what? How the fuck's that make sense? Like, okay, we can go to the door now. Or whatever. Well, okay, I guess I can't. They do want me to use this one. But you see what I mean? Like, these two, it happened with that, happened with the running around. I didn't know where the fuck to run around. because I wasn't paying attention to what this dipshit had said. Like, maybe it would have been nicer if, like, when it says reach the mission zone, instead it says, how about you do your objective? You know? Like, you can change the thing at the top, or have, like, pull up a tab menu, and, you know, you can see the map and as well as that. Yeah, see, look, I didn't even fucking go to that shit. It just, like, see what I mean? They just randomly, like, on a timer of some sort, and I don't even get to see the clock. The clock doesn't tick down. First time I
The
played
hostage
this.
rescue mission requires you to locate and rescue as many hostages as possible. Once you find a hostage, cut their handcuffs, and they will run to the escape zone.
Yeah, okay, now I have this fuck off shield in my face. Beautiful. Yeah, so first time I played this guy didn't even spawn in. And the other two are often, yeah, literally just the same exact copy pasted Asian woman from every fucking Steam game, which for some reason they have this fetish for sexualized Asian characters. Mostly women, but don't get it mistaken, there are definitely a lot of guys too. And I find that to just be fucking disturbing, so that's why I don't screw with Steam anymore. I just play abandonware or fucking old games. So this is an exception because how many games now are being released where you get to play as a cop? Barely fucking none. You know, barely any. Like these people all just fuck themselves and turn into whatever the fuck this is. Yeah. Really excellent fucking visual art design. This guy doesn't look like he wants to be here. Like, what is wrong with this game? I get it, you know, early access, but you when you're making an early access game, okay, you gotta fucking impress off the jump. You gotta
The
try.
bomb defuse mission requires you to locate and defuse each bomb before it explodes. Use your bomb locating device to help you find the bomb. The circular progress
First
bar will
impressions
fill up
matter.
as you move closer to the bomb.
First impressions matter. That's my
Use the
biggest issue
signal
with this.
detector in your left hand to find the two wires with the same wave signal. When you find the matching wires, cut either one of these wires. Good cut. Now be careful because all the wires have scrambled their signal, and you must use the signal detector to find a new pair of wires with matching signals.
There we go. Yeah, beforehand, when that guy over the left room, he didn't spawn in. I looked in, he wasn't there. Went in, he wasn't there. So I had to record this multiple times because this game broke multiple times. And it should be something as simple as just, hey, go to the bomb and plant, you know, this the bombs, they didn't spawn in. Yet
Use the
I'm
signal
I'm
detector in your
getting
left hand to
conflicting
find the
design
two
decisions
wires with
here.
the same wave
Do
signal.
they or do they
When you
not wish
find the
for me to
matching
play
wires,
the
cut
game, right?
either one of these wires.
He then proceeds to repeat
Good
himself
cut.
multiple
Now
times.
be careful because all the wires have scrambled their signal, and you must use the signal detector to find a new pair of
Yeah,
wires
so
with
when they
matching
threw
signals.
bombs in like a bunch of double-decker buses, I had no idea what the hell I was supposed to do. Also, for some reason my guy is like standing and he has a dynamic shadow. No idea. The lighting here
Use
is
the
not
signal
great, but
detector in
that's,
your
you
left
know,
hand to find the two wires
it
with the
was
same
either
wave signal.
generic
When
flat
you find
Unreal
the
Engine
matching
lighting that
wires,
looks
cut either
insufferable and
one of
trash,
these
or
wires.
this, and I'll take this, I guess.
Good cut. Now be careful because all the wires have
This
scrambled their
guy
signal,
literally will not
and you
shut
must
up.
use the signal detector to find a new
Shut
pair
the
of
fuck
wires with
up.
matching signals.
This dipshit says the same lines over and over again. Fuck off.
This mission requires you to escort the VIP to his final destination.
He's already a fucking annoying bitch. Alright, I'm gonna turn the voices off if I can. Get the fuck over here. At least this guy can get, you know, properly
If the
navigate this
VIP
time.
gets knocked down, you can revive him so he can continue his journey.
Yeah. Also had to turn off a lot of the blood decals, which is a shame, but I mean, to be fair, they looked like Nickelodeon slime instead of
Keep an eye
actual
out for any
blood, so
supply bags containing armor that you can give to the VIP. Bring the
there we go.
VIP close to the bag and press him with the new armor.
I'll get the fuck out of here. Looks like a Unity game on Android.
This mission requires
Basically
you to
because it
prevent the
is.
enemy from stealing cash from the safe
That
vaults.
wonderful
If an
reflection.
enemy manages to steal cash, you must eliminate them and retrieve the bag of cash.
Wonderful grid they have there on the windows. And it's basically no wonder why this shit does not look or run particularly well. Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 is a fucking cancer that needs to be stopped. Just return to Unreal 4. It's better. You want to make a game that looks flat and cartoonish? Well, not a problem. Unreal 4 can handle that. Unreal 5, on the other hand, it can't. Even if you have a shitty computer, you'd think, oh, well, Unreal 5 could do better. It can't. No, it is always fighting against itself.
As a police officer, you will be required to drive.
Why should you have to fight the fucking system in order to get it to working in a suboptimal way to say something like Unreal 4? Like this, where was the option to turn off the bloom or the fog? Oh, there just fucking wasn't one. Well, real nice. Something I'll probably add in my next Rogue Planet 2 demo when I get the first one done, but you know. Researching this shit. One thing at a time. Use the fucking car, the turbo mode, bitches. Curious. Oh, I can. Excellent. So basically, after you learn how to fuck with the car, they let you leave. But here's the thing, right? When I was screwing around this tutorial, I was just trying to figure out how the fuck I'm supposed to, you know, optimize the game more than actually playing the fucking game. And if your game starts to look like this and that's how you optimize it, that's just not a good fucking, you know, state of graphics for your fucking game. Like, that's just not a good game. Right? It looks like shit. This looks awful. You'd think, oh, well, I mean, hey, if the game looks like shit, you know, at least maybe it's fun on a gameplay level. My thoughts as well. It turns out it wasn't. And, this isn't going to be so much a Let's Play series. I'm just going to show you a couple of maps, you know, and then I'm going to show you, because I did play all the maps in here, and I didn't have anything nice to say, which is why I decided to, you know, cut the shit. But I'm going to show you I'm going to show you another map here. And I tend not to spawn in the helicopters, drones, suicide bombers, otherwise, yeah, and the grenadiers. But the rest, not a problem. Civilian amounts, you know, it's like, okay, we can just keep it to that. Not because my computer can't handle it, but because they didn't optimize their fucking game. And believe me, there are games that I have played that have significantly better graphics, basic attention to detail, reactivity, you name it. And this game is a massive letdown from Tactical Intervention, where I thought that, you know, because they would have had a better engine, they would have been able to take a lot of the lessons they had learned from that game and, you know, really apply it and come out the gate swinging. But, you know, if you don't nail your first impressions, I don't care. And you might not like that, but tough shit. I like to have a game that works, not a starting point to a game, not I'll wait for it. No. You fucked up. You got one shot. You got to make your shot and come out swinging. Otherwise, you know, you're just going to get fucking left behind.
Rescue all of the hostages inside the
That's the
mission
way I
ship
do
before
it.
the enemy
You know,
kills them.
I am impatient. I am the kind of picky asshole who will just play exactly what he fucking wants, because who am I obligated to play a video game for? If it's not fun, then I don't give a shit. But there are a few things to take away from this buggy and at times incoherent mess. that's basically just more so a proof of concept than an actual game.
Hurry up and get to the mission
And those
area.
things can be helpful, which is what I
The
look at
mission
in a
has
lot
begun.
of my
Complete it
research
before
and
time
looking at
runs
my
out.
competition. Because this is really the best they can think of. Like, this is how you get a semi-playable frame rate, and even then it's stuttering like all fuck. The graphics look putrid. I mean, this is, and I will show you a fair comparison, don't worry. This is just my optimized settings that I had to fucking adjust. Otherwise, I couldn't fucking play this game above like 20 to 30 frames a second because it would jitter all over the place. It would just, constantly go all the way up and all the way down, and that is not acceptable. I mean, as well as that, what the fuck is up with the color of the blood? It's way too bright. And these like cartoonish, comically, fucking violent bullet holes that just don't look out of, they don't look like they're in the same fucking game. It just feels wildly inconsistent with the tone and
Armed
the design
individuals are
of the
heading toward
color
the mission
grading.
area. Find cover and engage them with caution.
Oh, excellent.
God damn! You're supposed to be the best of the best. Get your shit together, officer.
Alright. Fuck this dickweed and his complaining. Fucking British. Got a little solution to this asshole. Alright. Good reason why we fucking fought the British off of our fucking turf. Hail to the king, baby. America. No kings allowed. 4th of July, we already had a no kings fucking rally. Fucking bitches. Anyway. Yep. So anyway. In here, point being, you go inside this fucking place. Oh, I guess I can't fucking use a door if I press F on a door. Yeah, can't fucking use the door. Oh, now I can fucking use the door. See? Yeah, anyway. Ah, fucking Faith from Mirror's Edge in a fucking sweater. Yeah, every one of the ladies they have here is always Asian, without fail. Like, this is a fetish, 100%. And I find that disturbing, but clear and obvious fucking manipulation and pattern recognition should be obvious. Oh my god, sees a woman. I don't have a problem with women, I got a problem with fucking liars. Irish, Battlefield 4. Same console generation, by the way. That they say and do all of this shit using women as a scapegoat. Huh, it's like really jarring to go from game to game, and then the more they release games, the more they contradict themselves and become really hypocritical. Oh, wait, that's a hostage. Sorry, it's a little hard to tell with fucking disabled, dyslexic Mario here and his fucking Sharpie mustache. Anyway, as I was saying, this is sort of like one of very few actual action police games I could find that's like relatively recent and still works. That's a problem. Any police games that I've often found just straight up don't fucking work because they've been destroyed by companies and publishers and or developers who said they cared so deeply, but they lied through their teeth. Gooseman didn't give a shit. If he cared, don't you think he would have kept the game online in some capacity? Well, I mean, he probably would have, but I guess he didn't care that much. Ran out of money. You couldn't have just made the game like a abandoned piece of game, abandoned piece of software, and just let it be like any normal game already operates. Like, I mean, hey, games for Windows Live, DVD games. Why was I able to get into them? Because you can still pop them in your disk tray just as well as you could 10 or 20 years ago. These have been around for a while and they've gotten cheap thanks to the passage of time. And since, it's like, it becomes like you have to second guess this shit because nothing in life is free. And the things that are often have some different catch. If you're not paying for the product in a lot of cases, you are the product. Which, was ultimately kind of say like my first game was eventually, let's say I do a sequel, which I am. what would be a good way to entice people to play that sequel. Like, say, if you like this first game, well, hey, here's the second one. And, there you go. Then you could play the second game and pay money for it or whatever. Right? Like, I can understand that. You need to make money, whatever. But there's good money and there's shitty money. Shitty money is when you try to blackmail me in order to continue playing the game that's no longer good or continues to be worse with every update, or in other words, often tends to destroy parts of itself and sell it back as a premium experience, EA style, like I say with Battlefield. Battlefield ultimately normalized this trend, and people took all of the wrong examples from that game to take. You should have taken the cool examples with the good lighting, not the limitations where you force a bunch of post-processing effects on, to the point where the game is basically inoperable because, like, say, Unreal 5 here, they took the EA approach where they force a bunch of, effects that are always on, and unless you know cryptic, basically borderline developer codes that you need to input into a text file like it's literally the MS-DOS days, where you need to fucking use a command line, for fuck's sake, really pushing tech forward, off a cliff, into their grave. But regardless, it's shit like that, right? That can easily be fixed by adding a button, and what you do in Unreal is you can add a blueprint widget, which is basically the way they handle heads-up display elements. You can add a menu, and in that menu, if a button is pressed, you then activate a console command. When you activate that console command, you then proceed to basically execute the console command. Meaning, like, let's say I want to add a frame rate counter, right? The way you do that is you would, like, execute console command stat FPS. And that's something I still need to add. I still need to add, like, a fog toggle and a God ray toggle. So it's, there are some things I'm still working on. Plus, hey, so you want to screw around with the game and the config files, by all means, if it makes you able to play the game on an old computer, or you just don't want to upgrade your computer, that's fine. You shouldn't have to play my game. Your computer should not go to waste because I can't do my job. If you want to play my game and you can't because, let's just say within reason, your computer totally could play it, but because I added a shitload of open world stuff that really doesn't do anything functionally, why is there, an open world in this game? Probably just to screw with you. I kid you not. There's really no reason for this big ass map other than to waste your time. There is nothing to see, there is nothing that happens, there's literally nothing to do in this world. So why the fuck is it an open world? You couldn't just do what you did with tactical intervention? Oh wait, you totally could have. You just chose not to. That's the problem. That was a choice. Developers of their games are in control of their actions. They're human beings, they're adults. They sat there at that keyboard and they decided to do it. If you code a buggy, crappy, incoherent mess of a game like this and expect me to care later, it's just simply not going to happen. Because the standard I have with most of these shooter games is they work the first time. And, if it's early access and you want money for that, I don't give out handouts like that. That's as simple as that is for, like, this case. It changes depending on shit. I'll take free handouts, but no. I won't give it. Say unless someone else already had done the work for me, then it's not hard to particularly say, like, go to free media, heck yeah, like in some of my other videos, just to be helpful. I'm a nice guy, but hey, don't push it. So here we are. We go over here. We got shit like this. I'm gonna buy an extended mag. Fuck if I know. I guess I can't buy that for some reason. Here's a shotgun. I'll buy that. Then, okay, cool. Purchase armor. Alright, shotgun. Buy extended mag. Reflex on the pistol. Oh, was. I guess I can't. I don't have enough money. Muzzle brake. Okay, there we go. Anyway, let's explore this half-rendered world. I'm not going to do the other missions because they're pretty terrible. But there is a church up here, so I will go there because Lord knows we need Jesus these days, and I think these games are, like I was saying with DVDs, it's, the standard I have is the shit on the DVD, right? Because they're cheaper, they're better, they work, and it's why I think Steam sucks. It's inferior. Because your job is not to tell me how I do and do not use the thing I purchase with my money. Your job is to make money by selling me the thing. If you can't do that, because that's the problem with Steam, when you buy something on Steam, you don't buy something. You get scammed. It's a trick. A purchase would, by all accounts, by all legal definitions, infer a transfer of ownership. With a license, it's still a good, right? Computer software as well. The DMCA does make provisions allowing you to archive your one copy of whatever game you have, right? Case in point here. It's example. Oh, wonderful. I fucking glitched through a fence. Well, I guess I'm just stuck in the church now. Oh, wonderful. Anyway. Herpaderp. Fucking accidentally glitches out of reality and fucking goes crazy. But anyway, my point with like the DVD stuff and why I don't care to wait around for unfinished alpha and beta projects, especially like I used to, is just how many betas do I have to have? I have like alpha and beta fatigue, if you will, with Steam. Shitty update launcher fatigue, if you will, because it's just bad. It's not fun. Do you like waiting? You like wasting your time on shit that never goes anywhere? I don't. I see all these broken toys that had potential. They had gifted, really talented people who just wasted their time, energy, and effort hoping and praying that shit would get better, and it never did. It's not that they lacked talent when they made this game. It's certainly not. The problem is more so, you built your house on a foundation of quicksand, and as a result, when it sunk into the ground, it was tragic but totally avoidable. Basically like what's happening here. You can't fucking get out of the damn pit and you're locked in a cage. And they tell you to keep going. How can I? I'm stuck. That's what Unreal Engine 5... I think that's a great analogy for Unreal Engine 5. The course of me just going through that and then getting stuck down here. So, let me redeploy. I'm gonna die. There we go. The unstuck button, if you will. So, half-rendered, unfinished areas. It's unfortunate, but it's the only way I could get a playable game out of this. Because Unreal Engine 5, no matter how hard you try, and I think most people know this from experience, there are usually those who would be snarky and defensive of a big corporate entity and their cartoon, shit they put in kids' games. Because, well, chances are they probably like them young, and they don't tend to hide it. I mean, hey, if you're doing something shady, you think you'd want to be fucking discreet about it, but yeah, I guess not. I mean, if actions have literally no consequences, what the fuck is stopping you from just being an annoying bitch? Pretty much nothing. Pretty much nothing. So that's what they tend to do over at the Unreal 5 camp of development. Also, what in the fuck is going on? Why do I have a shotgun? Why is there a floating lamppost? Street name. Yeah, this is the street called Street Name. So, unfinished game with a street name of street name. I couldn't tell you. Most of these buildings are like just fucking low poly block versions of themselves, and it was the only way I could really get this shit to work on a technical level, short of, totally making the game just like not function. Like, see, half this map doesn't even render. It feels like an unfinished prototype because it fucking is. Like, look at this shit. Where the hell even are we? Is this supposed to be London? Why does everybody run around with British accents saying shit in English when this clearly looks more like Brazil and most of the road signs don't even have English writing? It's like they're written in Spanish or some shit. Like here's your pond. Look at that. You can see the water in between. The water that's literally just a cube that abruptly ends right there. Like there's an actual fucking plane of water in this. The way they did this is exactly the problem. Instead of merging these and then hiding that fucking like cube of water, every single one of these models is a new model that's being drawed or called in, right? They're not culling their models correctly, which is why shit pops in and out. They could have easily merged a lot of this map, probably chunked it up into smaller sections because it's what they do anyway. Have like basically most of this shit just not even be rendered. You could much more intelligently design maps without needing to make this giant fuck you open world that doesn't do anything. Like, I mean, why is all of this loaded? Why is any of this here? There's this giant fucking monastery. This looks like a highly detailed, polished area. Why do I even have this map here? What is this map? Right? Like, wait, why can I go here? Most of this shit's gonna be popping in, and I'll screw around with the settings later, of course. But it's this is what your average user has to do in order to get games like these running because they don't optimize their shit day one, right? You need to make a good first impression out the gate, otherwise I don't care and nobody's obligated to. So you have to do a really good job of convincing them why it matters. Otherwise, it doesn't matter and they just give up in like 5 minutes and just go back to YouTube and Fortnite. I mean, it's excessive. Naturally, it's expendable. It's not required to live like, say, food or water is, but, that's the idea. This attitude pervades basically everything, this laziness, you know? Fucking, like, why is any of that shit down there even rendered? Why the fuck is there this giant, brick fucking skybox? Looks interesting as fuck down there. I'd like to play that fucking game, the Minecraft flat world with all the bricks and shit. Well, I don't like to play fucking Minecraft because people who play Minecraft are creepy as shit. So, just the way it fucking looks, I mean, down there. Like, hey, I want to go to that cool area. Not this other fucking shit. No, you gotta go over to a crowded area specifically on the map way over there. If you've ever seen the leaked pre-alphas of Call of Duty games, similar idea. And like, the shadows here. Had to turn off the fog, had to turn off the bloom because I couldn't see shit. Instead of maybe using it more tastefully, right? They just didn't give a shit. They made everything like way too bright and blurry as hell. So anti-aliasing has to go bye-bye because otherwise you can't see a damn thing because it's so blurry. And even if you were to properly, sharpen the TAA, performance would take a massive hit because it's ineffective. Like, what's up with this area? See, like, why don't you just use a lens flare, right? You could just put that shit in the sky. You don't even need to do God rays. I mean, I can do God rays, but guess what? In real time in my game, you can just turn them off with a button press. So, exploring this map, it's just huge for the sake of it. Like, what the hell are you doing with this massive map, Gooseman? Just cut this shit down to some, like, smaller sections. And on top of that, like, the other maps are big as fuck as well. I never had any moments that were like, oh, that's fucking cool or awesome. Like, okay, I guess it improved on a technical level, but I expected that. You want applause for that? Like, I expect excellence in my games, not just mediocrity. As well as that, you can't, like, in tactical intervention, you could, like, pull people over. Who's driving on the road anymore now? They're all just, every car is parked. You can't even, like, damage them. If I shoot this car, I guess you can shoot out the windows. No cars explode. I'm pumping this fucking car full of hot lead with my shotgun. My dude can reload for days, but I'm just reminded of something like Battlefield 3 and thinking that game from literally 2011 on the PlayStation 3 looked and ran better than this in a lot of cases. And that game was a stuttery mess where half the buildings turned into this shit, like 20 feet away, like this, right? Like, okay, you'd have a building that looked like that, but then the lighting was all fucking wild as shit and looked really cool. It's what I say about Battlefield. People took the idea from DICE that they could just pump in a bunch of post processing effects in their games to compensate for lacking optimization and other shit, and then just get a bunch of pretentious people who like a bunch of, overblown, effects with no way to change it to just, blindly agree that it looks pretty, therefore shut the fuck up. That's just not civil. And on top of that, it's not a good way to do things. So I'm going to be right back. And then I'm going to show you a different kind of setting for this. So just a sec. Okay, and I'm back. So the way I was mostly screwing around with the buildings, the problem was mostly, say, like, with the foliage. Because apparently the way that they did this shit is they used buildings as foliage, which you can do that in Unreal here. But I'm going to show you. And I turned on the fog again, so we are gonna. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Make sure that shit's off. Not set to medium. That's a problem. So, I am going to screw with this, and you'll see the problem more so now, right? You see how the frame rate wildly flails around, changes constantly depending on where I look. Like, we've seen the problem here. I mean, yeah, you might have some areas that look, I don't know, slightly better, but not by much. But even then, let's say we go up the same road we had before, and I mean, most of the interiors of buildings don't seem particularly convincing. Like, I don't know why you couldn't just say, you know, have that instead. Right, like here, okay, kitchen area, it's like some cube, right? Through the window, we got other shit to worry about. I mean, naturally, these guys are gonna fucking shoot each other, whatever, right? I'm not gonna fuck with the mission. I'm just exploring this area. So we see, okay, there's a kitchen over there, right? In the window, there's like a door, another kitchen, it's copy pasted. Okay, and now here is a doorway that literally didn't exist on the other side. It seems to me like they just used the exact same copy pasted building asset, slightly randomized the windows, and now, like, where the fuck is this kitchen, right? It just seems merely at a glance like, oh, okay, you added a 3D window, but right, tactical intervention handled that much better. There were like people in the windows, stores. Okay, here's like someone's house, right? Here's like their paintings on the wall. They got some fucking art gallery in there, like a horse and a dock at the sea for some reason. Okay, now here is like someone else's kitchen. Like, what? How? This doesn't make any sense. Like, this is right next to this. That somehow, these doors and places are not connecting either. There's this, grocery store here across the street, and like, it looks okay. I like the way that looks with all the wood and shit. Like, local grains, fresh drinks. I can read that. Okay, now look at the wall between these. What's going on here, right? This is the same exact shit. This is the problem that Unreal Engine 5 has because they tried to fix something that just simply was not broken, you know? in their pursuit of progress, they undermined the morals that defined their progress. So now what good is their fucking progress? It's no good. That's what it is. So let's just do something, I kid you not, set this to medium. Right? Okay, that's more maybe what it's supposed to look like. And you think, oh, well, okay, maybe now it'll run a little better. Sort of. It's at least getting 60 sometimes. That looks nice, but it's blurry as fuck, especially like right in those windows and shit like this. And this is still with some config tweaks to fix this. Stutters to like 49. It's problematic, okay? Looks much nicer over here. It, really does look blurry and unnecessarily too. Like, why is there God rays coming out of the fucking clouds, like right here? The God rays in tactical intervention were considerably easier on the eyes instead of, oh shit, I accidentally looked up and literally went to heaven. I do like that they've at least got this monastery and, the churches and shit. That's cool. But it looks blurry as hell. It's hard to fixate on anything other than just how weird and creepy this looks. And that's the thing. I feel like the problem with Unreal 5 is it's very specifically made for that kind of, like, say, quantum break. Look at the fences. It's the same fences I accidentally jumped through earlier. You see how this shit especially is just constantly jittering around, especially when you move. This is probably one of its biggest issues. Look at the trees back there. All of a sudden they turn into a mosaic painting, and it looks awful, right? The sky becomes the trees, and this shit just looks like slime. It turns into icicles suddenly because this fence is literally bleeding through the crosshair. You see, like, where my crosshair points? It cannot temporally reconstruct this without giving me, like, really terrible frame rates, too. And I'm playing on the medium settings. This is supposed to be the more optimized settings. What they'll often say and do is, oh, herpaderp, your computer can't fucking run it. I'm going to show you a game that both looks and runs better running at the high settings. And I can totally do Ultra at 60. I just find there to be no visual difference, so I tend not to. Right? Ultra settings in a lot of games feel like an afterthought, but now it feels like all of the settings are a fucking afterthought. Outside of maybe medium and maybe low. They took, once again, the wrong lessons from Battlefield and the wrong lessons from Crisis and decided that the part where it barely functions, the part where it's hard to play on lower end computers, yeah, we need to make your RTX like 9090 that you fucking got so that you could play games at like a million frames a second and you suck down more power than a nuclear reactor. You got that card because you could afford it. Yeah, we need to make sure that shit runs at 2 frames a second. Now here, because nothing's happening and I've ran away from the action, okay, we're getting like 60 frames a second. But it's blurry as fuck. It's not smooth. My mouse is constantly suffering from input delays. My crosshair goes willy-nilly. I can't see shit half the time. When I zoom in, okay, now it's 60. Now it's not. Oh, see? That's not smooth. And I could do something like, okay, let's add motion blur. But it already looks like shit. So let's add motion blur. Maybe that'll fix it. Oh, wait, no. It just makes it even more of an incoherent mess because now I can't see shit. You see how disruptive that is? I can't see anything. When I move my mouse even a little, because everything looks blurry. So if you add blur to more blur, that doesn't fix it. Capping it to 60, let's say I didn't cap it to 60 and I just used the game's actual defaults that I'm not kidding, this is what they came with. So they came with this, and the defaults were more like, you just take this, right? And the FOV was set to 90 here. But the problem is these sliders are really, really sensitive. So this was how it was set, and this was set to 30. So let's see what the game's most optimized default settings were. Oh, shit. Yeah. You see why I had to do some screwing around and tweaking now, huh? Because every other place I would look, yep, frame rate judders wildly. Now it's 30, now it's like 60. Up now it's 40, 50, it all over the place. And that literally doesn't look much different than just like setting it to medium. So why the fuck is this juddering all over the place? Let's say it was a problem with the max frame rate cap. Okay, fair enough, right? No. Not even that has it going for it. So, visually, these guys really don't look impressive either. Like, what's wrong with their fucking hair? You know, it's the same bullshit, like, hair that looks worse than some stuff that I've seen in, like, Far Cry 4. A PlayStation 3 game, of all things, has better hair than these guys. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And you know, oh, you might say, okay, well, maybe it's not fair to compare them to Ubisoft. Fair enough. Let's do their first comparison against themselves. Let's compare this game to their last game, and I will show you exactly the problem with the lighting and the tone. Right? That basically looks the same. Looks about the same as Ultra. What's really the difference here? Look at that. Look at how this, like, the sight turns into the Matrix when I put it over a tree. Like, what the fuck? You see that? Long ass ghosting trails. When you do that in basic motion, right there, pay attention to like the branches in between that shit. See how like when I'm shooting it as well, right? Pay attention to all the branches, right? And then try to look at that with the edge of your eyes, and that's extremely disorienting. That's the kind of shit that happens constantly when you use TAA. And it's not to say it can't work to make some artsy fartsy game that, you know, looks like, say, pull up a great example here with Quantum Break, right? Quantum Break is this kind of surreal time travel game. And it has like all these shards of broken glass, and you turn everything into like triangles. This is actually an Xbox One exclusive by the guys who made Max Payne. And they got Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. They really went all out with this. It had like a TV show, pretty cool posters. You know, it's a nice, cool looking game. And if I show you Quantum Break, here's this one where this guy screws around with the powers, with unlimited powers. So you can see how there was definitely, like, Unreal could definitely make a game that looks just, you know, weird. Like, look at that. That looks weird. You're fighting, like, okay, you're fighting the police, whatever, right? Security guards. You're playing as a crook, as you do, the typical cops and robbers thing that most of them do, except you don't get to play as the, you know, the police for some reason. See how like all this shit is like, you know, chromatic aberration. It's loosey, kind of weird, dreamy shit. Where this guy is like, you know, screwing with space time. Everything looks blurry. That's the idea. And even this game looks sharper than what they had. It's like you're playing one of those music videos by Zed. Like say, this is one of my favorite songs from Zed. Is Clarity. Or yeah, I'll show you. Zed Clarity music video. Oh, I love it when they just don't show me the official one. Hold on. They can find any single one except for the original. So I'm not gonna play the audio of this, but you know, let's just say like the broken glass and shit like that. Boom, all that stuff. You know, pharaohs, Illuminati shit, balls fucking colliding into each other, weird fucking abstract Windows 8 visuals. I mean, she's literally in like Windows 8.1. I'm not kidding. Like the fucking background. She's It's the same fucking background, dog. Like, literally got the fucking triangles and everything. Like, what in the hell? You see, when they started doing this abstract shit, it wasn't that bad. That's why, it's a real shame. Or if I look for, say, Zed and Stay the Night, I believe, with Haley from Paramore. Oh, YouTube, you know you can do better than that. Don't lie to me. We look at like the visuals of this shit. Unreal Engine would be fine at this. You know, if they screwed around with more visual stuff like this from Unreal 5, or Zed music videos, you can see the influences, all the fucking wavy lights and light bulbs and glass and, a lot of this trippy, weird, surreal visual shit. Okay, that can make for a cool game, but this can also make somebody have a fucking seizure. And that's not what you want when you're trying to just have a fun game. So, this can be really over the top. But they're not doing that on Unreal 5, right? They're just making these boring games where you play in a grossly cartoon reality. So, compare it to that, and I'll boot up Tactical Intervention for you. Okay, and I'm back with Tactical Intervention here. So this here's their last game, and if I go and get, like, let's say, let's get this similar loadout, pistol and, like, the Uzi or whatever. You notice, and I've also shown the frame rate here, right? You notice how the game runs well? Here's their big city map. Here's their big city in Source. Like, dynamic shadows and the helicopter, God rays and everything. It's probably the closest approximation of, or not approximation, but closest comparison, I would say. That's like direct, giant city map. And if you look at the map and the way it's laid out, it's like one giant highway, right? You chase each other, you go down the highway. Basically Battlefield Hardline, but on lower end PC. And what I like about this road, and you compare that to the other road, look, there's NPCs driving, and this is in the Source engine, by the way. They didn't have to add this. Same engine as, Counter-Strike Source, Left 4 Dead, Portal. I mean, hell, Portal even still has the same menu and everything. Like, you fucking exit out of this shit, and it'll give you the Portal 2 menu. And if you want to hijack these fuckers out of their truck, well, maybe not that truck, but you can get the other one at least. Get out of the car, I'll shoot you. And then you can drive their car, so why the hell did that get removed? Like, if you're a police officer, you can do that in this game as well. If you play as one of the counter-terrorists. Like, you can spook them out, say, I need that more than you do, If I want to as well. Sayonara, sucker. Look at that, there's even destruction. When I blow up a tree, it fucking goes out of its roots and everything. Like, he fucking uprooted the truck. When I shot the cars, they didn't do shit. Now, boom, car's blown up. You see what I mean? Like, here you go, GTA Source Edition. Wanna fucking get the, ye old trusty. Boom, look at that shit. Fucking triple kill. I want to shoot this car until it blows up. I can totally do that. Let me do it. So here, I'll demonstrate. They even have the blur and chromatic aberration over in the distance, and there you go. Car blows up. This shit's all reactive and dynamic. Nowhere to be seen in alpha response. You kill these motherfuckers, guess what? They fucking, don't have blood that's so cartoonishly bright. No, it's not like the fucking oversaturated red that's bright red, right? It's that slight darker, more maroon kind that blood is often actually like, instead of Nickelodeon slime. As well as that, when I look left and right and I zoom in here with my gun, let's see what happens when I zoom in with this gun in the tree. Oh wait, is the gun and the tree turning into a fucking, like time warp from Quantum Break? Let's see if I move this shit around. Oh no, it's holding up fine in motion. Why is that? How can this, old ass engine from 2004 running on Quake engine tech, handle a semi more realistic open world scenario even though it's segmented, because in both cases they segment the worlds out. So, okay, that doesn't make sense. How can they do that? They even have bullet holes that persist. Really wasn't such luck over with those cars. I mean, if they popped up, they pretty instantly like disappeared. Like I say, I want to, spook this motherfucker out. He runs for his life. He runs in terror. And, they had that with the civilians in Alpha Response. I just turned it off, mind you, because it wasn't working. Like, I got a frame rate of fucking 0. A frame rate of, like, maybe 12 if I was lucky. Let's say I want to pile up a big car pile here, and I'm just going to get everybody out of their cars, right? Stop your vehicle. I'm a terrorist. I'm going to take you. I'm gonna take your vehicle. Oh no. Like that's what you're doing in here. You're playing as the terrorist, right? So if I fucking get this guy in his car, fucking ram this into a big ass car pile, look at how many cars you can drive. They actually drive the cars. All unique animations, models, lighting, textures, you name it. Giant car pile I can get here. And is that frame rate going down? Not really. That's kind of surprising. It's only maybe a little. It's like stuck at, 58. Okay. Now, how's about I fucking get this pistol and blow up these cars? Or get this fucking SMG here. Want to blow up the cars? Want to get them all in the middle here? Totally do it. There we go. Boom. Fucking massive explosion. Because I just did a chain reaction with those cars. And there was an animation that fucking knocked my ass to the ground. And I stumbled to get up. That kind of shit is immersive. And this could totally be improved upon with, say, Unreal Engine technology. I think so. I think that's the perfect place to go. And apparently he did too. But unfortunately, he failed. He failed to fucking get his foot in the door. Even the earlier versions of this, right, were much better. Much more polished, out the front. You can go and look at early pre-alpha versions of this on YouTube. Look at how that car fucking, pieces. Go flying everywhere. The car becomes more dirty and damaged as you screw with it. You kill civilians in here, too. I mean, like, the difference is you originally actually were penalized for that. And instead of like, oh no, you lose some fucking Chuck E. Cheese tokens, you lose XP, you can't level up as quickly, you are punished with, loss of money for civilian casualties, because, professionals have standards after all. So let's say I kill the target here. Right, big ass city environment. We look at the windows. Same ordeal. They got like, the same three-dimensional windows. Okay. Seems like a semi-believable place. They're a little screwy. Sure, I mean, they're kind of approximate, but, am I seeing rooms that don't make any sense to exist? Not really. It just looks like a bunch of different displays. It's a hallway that goes over there. Okay, it looks fine. Yeah, it looks about the same. Good attention to detail there, right? Another helicopter. So I steal his fucking suitcase nuke and climb the rope and, he's gonna drop the helicopter. Unless he's just fucking trolling me. There we go. Now I win. I can, like, fucking escape and you get out of there. Because you're trying to steal the nuke and then, it's like you use it in other maps or whatever. Good attention to detail, and they are paying attention. That's a thing that matters, right? Now, the AI in this game is totally screwed in a lot of maps, probably including this one. But you get the idea. Lights that light up, civilian traffic. You can bump into shit. You can shoot them. It's immersive. It's immersive when they do shit like this. You see there's dirt all over the roads, even at a distance. Right? There's these manholes. They have markings on them. It's like a construction site here, right? If you can't finish your map, making it into a construction site is a good way to say, like, block the view of fucking Spec Ops The Line, Dubai Towers over there, or looking at this stuff, right? There's a forward arrow telling you naturally where to go, and if you don't know, well, you can just follow the GPS blue line. You know what? You can also fucking shoot the shit out of this big ass truck. Bullet holes, bam, massive explosion, lighting, details, right? God rays are still coming through the trees, and you know, if I scope in with this shit, I put this around the edges of the trees, it doesn't do that weird, flashy, you know, seizure shit. No, it just actually works. It even has, like you see, the God rays going through the knife. If I look up, oh no, I'm not getting fucking blinded by the light of God. No, it's just tasteful. It's not over the top, overdone, oversaturated. Even when you get out in the sun, right? Because they have shadows too. Crazy, right? And the game works. You're seeing the same shit I am. You zoom in. Okay, yeah, look. Light rays, your eyes adjust and adapt to. I like that. That's good attention to detail. And if you want to make a game that reflects reality while still, you know, still being accessible and fun, this is more of a balanced way to do it. Now they do balance it a little more in the case of like the Counter-Strike, you know, pseudo-realism, where you know you get killed in like 2 seconds with some dude in his AK-47 hiding in a corner camping the bomb site. Which hey, you know, I'm absolute scumbag. I camped to win. Bad, bad. Fucking butt. Anyway, you see the difference. And another good example, Far Cry 4. It's an open world game too. And it's actually an open world game from the PlayStation 3. So I'm going to quickly show you this. Okay, and I'm back. Far Cry 4 is loading, but basically, if I often look at a new game and I see less reactivity than, what here is I'm going to show on display in Karat, I often have a problem because I don't think that a PlayStation 3 game should really just be the only standard that we, have for the top of the line, really cool, innovative tech. Because we can do better than that shit. Like, this is a PlayStation 3 game, right? And you immediately see how their lighting and their shadows and, like, all the trees move around. Everything is, massive, massive improvement. This is basically an end of generation PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 game. They have animals that are everywhere. They got like these buildings and shit. See, it's all colorful, bright, relatively like, some third world country like I was playing in fucking Valerino there. So, if let's say I want to go and compare like, their dog models because they had some dogs. A great point of reference, I tend to compare a lot of games, let's say, hair, physics, with, like, in that case, because the way they did hair physics in this game was they actually simulated NVIDIA GameWorks hair, and, both are vendor locked, so don't get it mixed up here. Both means of doing that are locked to NVIDIA, because that is what they do. They just don't even say it anymore. You just find out the hard way when your GPU cannot run it. Like, see here, the shadows on those trees, they load in at a distance. Like that. You see how it pops in? The trees get lower quality the more you go back and forth. No dice on Unreal Engine. It's just they're brute forcing the higher settings, but the higher settings of their game still look like crap. I mean, you see the color grading here is still colorful, but, let's say, those I've shown you, right? It's things like these I'm going to look at when I'm developing Rogue Planet 2 that matter. You don't realize they matter because you take them for granted. Or at least I used to. I used to take for granted that this shit would work, right? I fucking hope it does. If it doesn't, I would be worried, which is what worries me with Unreal 5 and what worries me with Alpha Response there, because that's my competition. And that's what my competition's doing. Basically, my competition is taking the pigs out to pasture. Yeah, not great. But even these pigs, look at that. 3D hair. with physics. They're blowing in the wind and everything. So you want to fucking shoot the pig. Look at the blood of the pig, right? Blends in with the rest of the body. And doesn't look weird or like jagged. And they have temporal anti-aliasing in this game. But here's the difference between how they do it in this video game from the PlayStation 3 and how they do it in Unreal. That's a choice. Right? That's a choice. I can choose to do that. In Unreal, I have no choice. There's no MSAA, there's no SMAA, and there's no off switch, as you saw. There's just one. Why not 0? Why can't I go to 0? That seems peculiar, doesn't it? What gives? Well, what gives is, as the likes of Thread Interactive would tell you in much more intricate detail, and he can show you. If you don't believe him, well, I'll show you it working, the shit that he has shown me. You don't have to believe him. You can see the results for yourself. So let's say we want to send that puppy flying. He's now fired. Pupper's fired. Look at that pupper. He got some 3D hair. Also, yeah, little fucking, branches in my face. Because that's what happens when shit gets in your face. You can't focus on it, right? Depth of field. Hair. Leaves. Birds, other sound effects that aren't screwing over CPU usage. Want to go hunting and, there's a wild boar. So look at that. Oh, shit. I got attacked by a wolf, see? There's animations and shit. Gotta be careful. The wolves are trying to get me. Siberian wolves. So throw a grenade at those sons of bitches, right? Oh, wait. Did the frame rate go to hell? It didn't. Oh, why is that? Let's see, I throw 3 grenades. Oh, wait, the shit around it reacts too? Like, why is the frame rate not dying on me? I wonder. Huh, that's peculiar. And if everything's foggy too, well, yeah, it's the fucking middle of the morning. I would expect it to be that way. As well as that, they have these little, decal fog, clouds that go through. There's like subsurface scattering on the trees. I mean, it's not even just like fidelity's sake. It's just basic fucking common sense and effort, Like all the morning dew is rising, and it's just okay. That was an open world game I played there with Alpha Response, and it wasn't a good one. You would think after like 13 or a couple console generations, right? 13 years and 2 console generations, we'd really try to improve this, but I guess not. We just all collectively shrugged our shoulders and gave up. Bye-bye innovation. Bye-bye cool graphics. I highly doubt that. They were still making decent-looking stuff up until about, I want to say 2018, 2019, but then most people just collectively were like, okay, COVID-19, we're now traumatized. That means we now can't make shit to actually help us escape reality because we're going to project all of our insecurities into our games. Instead of, I don't know, acting like a mature adult and just making a fun shooter game like you used to. Maybe it was kind of oddly a mistake to give you that much trust if you were just going to take it and burn it all. Speaking of burning, they could, use a Molotov, but hey, if you fucking burn something in a game, let's say, I burned the fires in the cop game with Alpha Response, right? If I fucking shoot this shit too, here's what I like about Far Cry 4. You shoot shit in this game, look at that, all this shit fucking waves around in the wind. Yo, shit, you starting a forest fire, dog. Look at that. I'm gonna shoot the puppies with the rocket launcher. Well, guess what? There you go. On a technical level, it runs and looks very good. High settings. What gives? It's not like this shit just went away. Nvidia still offers GameWorks, PhysX. I mean, in truth, it's just newer number, newer, higher number, better. It's not fucking true. That's what they think. It's what they think. Like, look at that, you know? When those guys burned the grass in alpha response, nothing happened. Oh. So how's that next gen? How's that like, you know, a brand spanking new game from the creator of Counter-Strike, you know? Where's the reactability? Even CS:GO has decals that like work, and I fucking hate CS:GO with a burning passion. Pun intended, mind you. It's basic quality standards 101. You would expect to outdo yourself and I mean, not really even do the same thing twice if you can help it. Let me show you my game and then I'll end this, you know, kind of rambling about just, you know, game graphics and shit. Okay, and I'm back. So here's my game. This is Rogue Planet 2. I'm not saying it's the, you know, the best game and best looking game in the world. It's clearly not supposed to be. But here's what I'm doing. You can destroy the entire map. Here's like 100 frames a second, you know? Unreal 4. Guess what? Shit works. Is there a bunch of slimy, you know, weird, distorted effects and shit? Not really. No, it's, actually I decided against doing that because I needed the rain to look good. There we go, 110 frames a second. God rays, fully dynamic lighting in a lot of here. Look at that shit. That's what happens when you optimize your Unreal Engine game. Crazy, like, it's almost as if it runs better. Looks pretty nice. So let's say I wanted to go and I wanted to go over here and I want to grab like a gun that can destroy buildings. You know, just like, I'm not the only one thinking, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if when I was playing these games for my competitors, like I could destroy the skybox? Am I the only one thinking that? Like, hey, don't you see that city and want to blow it up? I sure do. Use your imagination. You got a crazy-ass tool and you just use it to make what? Boring cartoon games? So lame. How's about that for you? Battlefield 4 can do like maybe one building you can destroy. I can do 10 in the sky. Boom. Physics, all of that. Floats away. Look at this giant building that's, you know, physics. All dynamic physics too. You know, you can, this isn't scripted, this isn't fake. Well, it is scripted, of course, you know, like blueprints, chaos destruction, but it's not like it's pre-scripted where it can only go in one place. No, it goes all over the map, right? So if I shoot that, it'll destroy itself in the same way, but the physics will never land in the same place twice. That sign went flying. Like last time I showed this in my devlog, guess what? Didn't go the same place twice, now did it? And it's still running at 100 frames a second. This is after I've also been recording a like hour-long just ramble about, you know, productive feedback to hopefully make my competition actually have a much better game for what they're making. And as well as that, something I'm very passionate about and care about, because I don't want to see this genre I enjoy, especially this form of entertainment, decay and suffer as a result of a lack of care, a lack of interest to care, a lack of innovation, a lack of interesting features. Okay, you have a cops and robbers theme. What makes you special, right? What really makes you unique? What makes you stand out? I feel like the whole natural disaster, massive, you know, surreal worlds, that's what makes me stand out. It's not the most original thing in the world, but you see what I'm doing with technology here? I'm pushing this engine forward, not just going backwards and proceeding to undo years and years of very good art and especially world and production design work that others before me have laid down. You want to learn and innovate with every new generation. Let's say you're like me, you really don't want to put in all of the bitch work to make your game look the most graphically intense in the world, but you still want it to look nice. Say like this, right? Xbox 360, maybe early PlayStation 4, Xbox One, maybe like say a 2017 indie game from that time. Okay. How's about we do something crazy like 100 frames a second on a laptop from 2019 I bought at Walmart? You know, how's about we try? This is what I want from Xbox Series X. I'm not getting that. I'm getting blurry, slimy trash that doesn't work. I'm getting an engine that sucks. Meanwhile, Unreal 4, it still works. Like, how about instead of going backwards with our tech, we go forwards? You gotta think ahead. Begin with the end in mind, because when anybody looks back, they're gonna find a bunch of games they can't play, error messages, and basically being told to screw off, because they wanted to have fun playing a video game. I've seen where that leads. Didn't go anywhere fast on Xbox One, Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. They left that shit all behind. And now, early Xbox One gets to join in the fucking cool kids club, if you will. Gets to sit in with all the other army games that now been forgotten, relegated to bargain bins and thrift stores. That's not what I want my history to be. That's not what I want this shit to be. It's art. Doesn't art have innate value? Doesn't it mean something? Like, I would think so. Like, isn't that why these cartoon games get made? Why can't we all just get along, I want a game that looks good. You want a game that looks good? Okay, we want the same thing. How hard was it for me as a developer to, go into Unreal Engine here and make this shit work? Well, I'm going to show you how hard it was. All I had to do was go to project settings. I had to go to over here on the left side, had to look for this rendering thing, and then scroll down until I found FXAA and switch that, anti-aliasing method, switch that shit to FXAA. I then not only did that, I went out, and then what I had to do from there was, thanks to Little Fine by Thread Interactive, went to shaders, and I'm fairly certain it was private, and then I went to FXAA shader.usf, and then I opened this, I shit you not, with WordPad. Then I scrolled down until I found this little sucker and replaced that with 00. That was it. That's all I had to do. So, how hard's that? I wonder. How hard is that shit to go and find a single line of code and type 0.0? It's not hard. So, really what gives, I wonder? Couldn't tell you. But, hey, you can see what happens when you have a poor level of care in your early access video game. And you can see why I care about solving this problem. You want that problem to be solved? Feel free to sub. I don't often do rants like this, but I felt it was just interesting. It was kind of bugging me, and I wanted to get my thoughts out there. Because, hey, that's what you make art for, right? Just have it sit in a closet, collect dust, never mount to anything, and just no one ever gets to see it, right? Wrong. Maybe it'll start at video games, but where does it stop? I mean, you can look at the streets of LA and Portland. Look at a lot of Tennessee right now. I think that's spreading quite a lot. You tend to see the signs of death with the bright colors. And like they say here with the EXE, I think I'm fine killing this option.